Hi everyone, Lisa here from Down to Earth Gardening, and you all know how much I love my dahlias, and right now it's time to dig them and store them. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to walk you through that. It's mid-November, it's getting chilly out here, but to be honest with you, I like to wait a little bit longer, as long as I can, to harvest my dahlias, and that's because what's happening is they're storing their energy for next year. So it's kind of a balance because we can't wait until the ground freezes. So I got up this morning and there was a pretty hard frost this morning. It's been 20s at night, and today I think it was 40 degrees. So this is the perfect time. I like it to be dry because we don't want soggy bulbs. And once I trim them down, then I force myself to dig them up. And that's because you don't want to cut them down and then come back and dig them later because they'll be soggy, because then the open stems, you're leaving them vulnerable for the water to get in there. So if I commit to digging my dahlias, I've got to go for it. So the first little group that I'm going to do here, I still have the tag, and this one is called Caribbean Fantasy. So some of them from last year, I have to admit, were a surprise because they didn't get tagged. But I do try to tag them so I can share with you all what were my favorites. But this one here was beautiful yellow, red, orange, warm colors. Very, very pretty, and it was a dinner plate variety. So I'm just going to put this aside, and then we're going to start digging here. So I've got my wagon, I've got my kneeling pad, and I have my pitchfork here. Before I do that, we're going to cut the stems down. So when I cut the stems down, I like to leave a little bit for now, and that's just because I don't want to lose them, and it also kind of gives me a handle. So I've got 3 here that I planted in a group. So I'm really just leaving them, 2 or 3 inches long. And I'm going to put the debris aside. So the first step is cutting them down. And so now you can really see if I did that and I left them, if I wasn't ready to dig, it really wouldn't be great for the health of the dahlia because you would risk the water getting in there. All right, here we go. We're going to pop them out. All right, so it looks like I've sliced into one, and I have to tell you that I've had really great success hanging on to these. I know some people will throw them away if they slice them, but if it's a healthy tuber, then I just go ahead and store it, and usually it will heal itself and be fine next year. So I'm not too worried about that. I really try not to do it, but it happens. Pitchfork, it's less risky of doing that than it is the shovel. So it looks like I actually may have just had 2 here, and this one, what happened was it tricked me because it had 2 stems. So just from these 2 dahlias, I got so many flowers this year. And I'm just digging around a little bit with my hand because I want to make sure I don't forget anybody. And then I really just try to shake them off as much as possible. And they look great. I'm going to bring all of my dahlias up to the table. I'm going to inspect them, and I'm going to have you join me up there so I can show you what I have and how I like to store them. Okay, so I'm back. I've dug all of my dahlias out today, and the sun's going down. I really wanted to show you how I'm going to store these because, as I said, I really like to finish the digging task, and then I'm going to show you what I do next. I like to finish it in one day. So what I've done is I've put the varieties with their tags. So I have a few out here. I've got the Caribbean Fantasy, I've got a Mango Madness, Passion Mix, and a few others. And I remembered that my surprise this year, this is Dahlia tubers that my daughter and I have had for years and we've shared, and it's called Strawberry Ice. And it was just a beautiful pink dinner plate dahlia. So I have quite a few of those, and I've had those for a while. So I've laid them out with their tags because when I store them, I also want to put the tag on them. And if I store them with a loose tag like this, it's for sure going to confuse me and get mixed up for the spring. So what I've done is I've just bought these plastic plant tags here, and they come in all different colors, and I have my permanent marker. And so for each loose tuber, I'm going to wrap it around the tuber before I do anything else, because like I said, I'm a little nervous of things getting jumbled up, and it's kind of nice to remember varieties, especially when I'm sharing them with you at home, in case you like something that I'm growing and you want to try it yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and tag all of them first. And then my next step is I'm going to cut those stems down that I left. So I'm really just kind of cleaning them up, cleaning the stems off of them. We don't need these on for storage. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll have a little debris pile. And then I'm going to check them for health. And that is a really important step. So what we don't want is we don't want soft mushy. I've already thrown a lot of those out. I had a few of those. Very sad, but I've got some nice healthy ones looking here. You don't want to store any mushy dahlias or anything that has any disease on it. So tubers are susceptible to tuber rot, which is a fungus. So you really will want to inspect them before you put them away for storage, because even in storage, it can spread. So you don't want that. And in fact, when you have them in storage, it's really not a bad idea just to kind of check them every so often through the winter and make sure everything's looking good and discard anything that's not. So even after I check them today, I'm going to try to do that 2 or 3 times over the winter when they're packed away. So some people do like to wash their tubers and let them thoroughly dry before they store them. My method has really been just to lay them on a newspaper after I pull them out of the ground, and I leave them for a day or two and just kind of let them dry off, and then I will brush the soil off or shake it off even more. So you can see why it's important for me to have the tags on there and how things could get jumbled. So that's my method, and I will put them on a table with some cardboard, some newspaper, and I'll put them right in my garage. Do not put them on a cement floor for this process, because the cement will pull up the moisture and then the tubers will rot. So I will have a table of some sort in the garage. And then for storage, you want to put them in a cool, dry place. So if you have a barn or a garage, that's really perfect. But every year I try to upgrade my supplies a little bit. I love handy gardening supplies. And typically what I use is I will use a cardboard box, and I will just layer newspaper in there. And sometimes if I don't get to tagging them, I'm writing the names on the boxes. But this is a better method. But I wanted to show you, I found these really nifty collapsible crates that I think are going to be really amazing for storing my bulbs this year. So what a space saver, right? It folds up flat. And in this lot, I have 3 that came to a case. So bear with me. It's the first time I'm really putting these together. Voila. My crates, handles, and then they stack. So what's better than that? A really nice space saver. So this is what I am going to be storing them in. And I am going to use my, I've got some brown paper or newspaper, and then I'm going to layer them. So I'm going to start by putting it in the bottom, and then a layer of the tubers that have been tagged and dried, and then another layer. But you could also use another good option instead of newspaper is pet bedding. So pet shavings, really great option for storing your tubers. So I'm gonna get going on the tagging here so I can get these all set to go into storage and before the sun goes down. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I love bringing these to you. So if you liked it, please tap like. And of course, subscribe to us for some future gardening fun with us.